Today, we're diving in to build a master blueprint for one of the biggest jobs in IT, managing all your apps with Microsoft Intune. If you want to get software out there, confidently and securely, this is exactly where you start.
I mean, it's the classic IT challenge, right? You've got your team everywhere, in the office, working from home, scattered all over the globe, and every single one of them needs the right tools to do their job. Getting that software to them is absolutely mission critical, but man, it can get complicated fast.
And that's exactly where Intune comes in. Think of it as providing this powerful, repeatable blueprint for deploying and managing all your applications. So in this explainer, we're going to walk through that blueprint piece by piece so you can start building with total confidence.
Okay, let's start with the foundation. I want you to think of what's coming next as the universal recipe for deploying pretty much any app you can think of. Seriously, if you can master this one process, you've basically solved 80% of the entire app management puzzle.
And here it is. This is that core process. It's a really logical flow when you think about it. First, you just confirm compatibility. Can the app even be deployed silently? Then you define who gets it by creating your user groups. Next, you pull the app into Intune and then assign it to those groups. And finally, you apply all your security rules and monitor the whole thing to make sure it worked. See? Each step just builds on the last.
So this brings us to a really key decision. How are you going to assign the app? You've got two main strategies. Required is the push method. The app just installs automatically, no questions asked. It's perfect for essential software like your VPN or antivirus. But, and this is important, the device has to be fully managed by Intune. The alternative is available, which is the pull method. Here, the app just shows up in the company portal and users can choose to install it themselves. This gives you way more flexibility and is absolutely crucial for personal devices.
And that available option, well, that leads us right into our next big topic, the whole bring your own device or BYOD challenge. How in the world do you secure company apps and data on a phone or a laptop that you don't even own? So first, let's just get on the same page. An unmanaged app is, well, it's anything a user downloads themselves from a public store. IT has zero visibility, zero control. It is the Wild West of software.
Now, on the flip side, a managed app is one you push out through Intune. This gives you complete control over its entire lifecycle. You can deploy it, you can update it, you can monitor its status, and most importantly, you can selectively wipe the app and all its corporate data if a device gets lost or an employee leaves the company.
And this is a real secret to solving that whole BYOD problem, a MAM-protected app. It uses something called Mobile Application Management Policies to add security layers directly to the app itself. This lets you do things like require a PIN just to open that one app, or block users from copying company data out of Outlook and into their personal Gmail. It basically creates a secure bubble for your data, even on a personal device. It's a game changer.
So, let's quickly summarize the rules of the road for these unenrolled personal devices. First, you can only target users. You can't target the devices themselves. You can't force installs or updates. It's all on the user to go to the company portal and pull them down. And because you have less control over the device itself, using those app protection policies, that MAM we just talked about, becomes absolutely essential to keep your data safe.
All right, let's switch gears and tackle one of the most common and critical tasks you'll have, deploying the Microsoft 365 apps suite. Your Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and Outlook. And the great news is that Intune makes this incredibly simple. There's a dedicated Microsoft 365 apps app type built right in. You don't have to worry about downloading installers or packaging files or any of that headache. Intune just handles all of it for you.
But, and this is a big but, deploying M365 comes with a few critical gotchas that you have to know about. First, users must close all their Office apps before the install or it can fail and they could even lose their work. Second, assignments aren't additive. A new assignment completely replaces the old one. So if you assign just Excel to a user who already has Word, Intune will actually uninstall Word. That's a big one. And finally, you've got to remove any of those old MSI-based versions of Office first for the new deployment to work.
You also get this amazing, precise control over the update schedule. You can put some users on the current channel to get the latest features immediately. Or you can use the monthly enterprise channel for a nice, predictable once-a-month update. Or, for your most critical users, there's the super stable semi-annual channel, which only gets major feature updates twice a year. This lets you perfectly balance new toys with stability.
Now for a problem that probably keeps a lot of IT admins up at night.
What do you do with that one critical, ancient, line-of-business web app that was built for Internet Explorer now that IE is retired?
Well, the answer is actually pretty brilliant. It's called IE Mode in Microsoft Edge. It's this really clever solution that runs the old Internet Explorer engine inside a tab of the modern, secure Edge browser. This means your old legacy sites just work, and your users don't have to juggle two different browsers. It's the best of both worlds.
So IE Mode gives you excellent compatibility, supporting critical old technologies like ActiveX controls and all those security zone policies. But, and this is just as important, you have to know what it doesn't support. Things like old IE toolbars or certain menu navigation policies, they won't carry over, so that's a key thing to keep in mind. Okay, so we've deployed our apps, we've bridged the legacy gap with IE Mode. The final piece of our blueprint is monitoring. How do you actually keep an eye on everything you just set up?
Well, Intune gives you this really clear, high-level view with its app install status report. You can see at a glance the percentage of successful deployments, what's still pending, and, most importantly, where things are failing so you can jump in and start troubleshooting.
And for when you need to dig deeper, the Discovered Apps report is basically your software inventory. On your corporate-owned devices, it gives you a complete list of every single application Intune has found. This is invaluable for things like compliance and security audits.
So if you take just one thing away from this whole explainer, please make it this 6-step process. From checking compatibility all the way to monitoring the results, this is the fundamental workflow for doing app management right in Intune. This is your blueprint.
And that kind of brings us to a final thought. We've seen how tools like Intune give us incredible control over apps while at the same time empowering users with things like BYOD and self-service. And it really raises the question, what's next? Where does this balance between IT security and user freedom go from here? It's a pretty exciting frontier to think about.